Good morning. What you're seeing here is Susan ballasting the track as described. And what she's got here is a medicine spoon, and she's gently putting in our Woodland Scenics mix of fine and medium coarse ballast 00 scale. This is speeded up to 4 times the speed because I think you get the point by watching it at this speed exactly what is going on. And the important thing is to spread it around and then use your Christian Dior makeup brush. No, jesting aside, makeup brushes are perfect because they're really soft, and you just gently ease the ballast into all the cracks. Now, some people recommend ballast spreaders, which is like a hopper you put on the track and move it along. However, you have a lot more control here with how much ballast you put into where you want it. You're not forcing any ballast in, and when you've got a Pico 3-way point or any point, you need to get it right. If you put too much ballast in, the point is not going to operate with fluidity. Also, you could have problems with the contact points of the point not connecting, and you do not have any power. My opinion, or our opinion, it's best to take your time spreading the ballast around, using the makeup brush and pushing it in gently into all the areas. Now, the reason we're using a makeup brush and not mother-in-law's toothbrush is because mother-in-law would be... No, the reason being is a toothbrush, we believe, would force the ballasting too harshly. Remember, points are very, very sensitive. You don't want to fist them. With a makeup brush, you can gently ease the ballast into where you want it to go. No force. You do not use force, and you spread it around gently. And you can see here, even though it's 4 times speed, you can see that everything is being done with gentleness. What I've done here is gone back to normal speed for a short time, so you can see in the point the gentleness required. As I said, when you're doing points, well, any point really, or a crossover, especially a 3-way point, you need to be gentle and sensitive with your ballast. One of the reasons we use fine mixed with medium is where the medium will not go, the fine will, so you've got no unsightly gaps. But you can see here what you couldn't see with the ×4 speed is you really do need to take your time. People do what's right for them, but I would not use a hopper on a point. No way, no way, because it is so important you get it right with the contacts and you make sure that the point is free from any dust, loose ballast, be it medium or fine, to make sure it works correctly. If you do not do this, you are going to have a world of pain. And there you can see Susan has pretty much finished the ballasting, and you can see the difference on the camera all day long. Absolutely smashing job. I'm going to keep this going in real time and show you what I'm going to do next. Right, so the next thing you do is you have an atomizer and you spray it. You use an atomizer because it doesn't move the ballast. There you go, you spray it all over and leave it for a few seconds. Simple stuff. Don't worry about the water, it's not going to harm anything. Let it soak in for a few seconds. Then you use a pipette, 50-50 mix. And you just go like that. What it will do, just soak in. Along the edges. And basically what you can see is you'll see it's running where the water is. But you can see the ballast isn't moving. If you didn't use the water, the ballast would start moving. Now here, be a little bit careful. Now, what may happen is that you may have a little bit of glue where this is, but that's not hard to sort out because it will not dry hard. It takes a couple of days to dry hard, but you can see there it is, it's all done. Bit more here and we're done, aren't we? Covered everything, haven't I? Covered everything?
Yeah.
And that's it, that's done, all ballasted. Susan's just putting a bit of greenery here now because it's wet, and what it will do is it will stick on its own without any help. Where the glue is drying, because obviously a bit came up where we stripped it, but where it's wet and there's glue running, you can do it afterwards if you wish. I mean, he does it when you've got to do it now, but because it's all very wet and glued there, you just push it down, tap it down, and it will stick because the glue's run down there, and you can see it's already soaking in. And all we have to do now is wait for it to dry. Thank you for watching. Here is the ballast after 3 hours, and you can see the glue has disappeared. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the points, make sure they're not glued up. It's a lot easier. Which they won't be. Then I'll show you how we finish off in the morning. Right, it's the morning now, and what you need to do once you've ballasted, you check that your track's straight or straight enough. I've got a really small washer here because I think that's all I'll need. You don't want to do it too much because what will happen is the track will sit too high. Can always pull this out afterwards. Let's have a look. That's it, that's better. There we go, hopefully you can see. That's a lot better. Still a little bit out, but I'm going to use smaller washers. This is perfectly normal where you've got track drying onto cork. Make sure you put it right in underneath. There we go, and that's level. That's pretty much good enough. That's level. So you make sure that's the important part of the track, and that's level pretty much. Because if it can't go level over this point, you've had it. So you can see there, you check everything is level, which it is. So we're pretty cool with that. So we'll move all this stuff out the way. So you can see now that the track is level. If it's not level, with tracks entering or leaving, at any point, smaller locos will struggle. The next thing you do is check the points work, and there you can see they do. You can see they work perfectly, so there's no problems there. Okay, now what you can have when you've done ballasting is you can have PVA on top of the track, and what you use is you use a track rubber. The amount of people I know that have ballasted and they wonder why their trains will not run. Well, it's quite simply because the PVA has dried on top of the track, and you've got a thin layer that you can't really see, so you use a track rubber, because the track's clean anyway, to give your track a thorough buff, I call it. Next resetting, never mind, I'll worry about it some other time. And you can see now, and this layer can be so thin that you can't really even see or feel it. There you go, and there's a bit, there's a bit there that I need to do. Because if you don't get all this off, especially with lighter locos, you're not going to get the conductivity that you require. So you can see I've done that. Now, the next thing you need to do is you need to be aware of this area of the track. You need to check that locos will go round it, because the problem is this. If this isn't level with this, longer multiple units will derail around here, and you'll think it's the point, but what it is, it's twisting here, and it can cause derailments. So before you get too excited, the next thing you need to do is make sure your trains will run over the piece of track that you've just ballasted and changed or altered the point on. Because what can happen is where you've moved this can affect that. You've got to be so careful, because you can have collateral damage, believe it or not. So what we're going to do is we're going to try another loco. You always test. Once you've had a point up or a piece of track, to make sure locos will run over it. Always, because they're all different. Very small wheels. Now the thing with this loco is you've got to run it round for half an hour before it runs well, and you can see that's absolutely fine. Okay, I'm going to test a 73 on the whole of this three-way point. Helps if I have it set right. Let's go backwards and forwards again. And I'm running it at speeds that I would normally run it at, because the thing is, once you've ballasted, as I said, I've had this track up, I haven't shown you that, but I've shown you the ballasting. And you test, and the reason you test now is because the ballast is not rock solid and the track is a lot easier to move around. And you see here, this is absolutely fine. And if you find that something's jerky over it, check for PVA glue where the ballast is, because that can affect it. And you can see these locos are very sensitive to cracked track, and you can see that's absolutely fine. Right, we're going to test it with a digital locomotive now, because they are very sensitive to power fluctuations. And if something isn't running right or the power is disrupted, it will stop. Change direction, please. And you can see that is absolutely fine. Back again, please. And what we're going to do now is test it on the middle track. They are so sensitive, digital locomotives, to a braking power. And we're on speed step 128, running it at level 5. Back again, please. We're not running it at 3 or 1 because we'll be here all day. And last but not least, the other track. Back again, please. And we shouldn't have a problem. And we're done. We've tested all the locos. And back again, please. Thank you for watching. I know we've covered a bit more than ballasting, but it's a bit more to ballast than laying the ballast down. And always check before, when you've left it overnight before it dries solid, that everything runs fine, and you can see it does. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you.